The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Yeomans.
Welcome to Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee, the official coffee sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. We are here. We are live. It is Monday after a very terrible loss, but I am here with Isaiah Stanback. I'm here with Patrik Walker. Christopher Beamer is in the background. I am Josh Rodriguez filling in for Kyle Yeomans today, who inexplicably is out after such a terrible loss.
Oh, how convenient.
He didn't want to face the music.
The timing.
Come on,
we see
Kyle.
you, Kyle.
I know, right?
You can run, but you can't hide.
Seriously, he's looking in the mirror right now. Anyways, boys, it's a terrible loss, 47-9. A terrible homestand against the Detroit Lions, who had a bone to pick. It was a grudge match for all intents and purposes. First off, let me say happy Indigenous Peoples Day. We want to shout that out real quick.
Absolutely.
On a Monday, October 14th.
Especially considering I have indigenous blood in me.
Too.
So 100%.
Me too.
Shouts to that.
Creek
cheekbones?
Indian, South Georgia. Yeah. You see that.
And happy belated birthday to Double J.
Oh, yeah, Jerry Jones.
Will McClays was
Will McClay as
Will
well.
McClays as well. Nice, dope. Okay.
Yeah, so happy belated birthday, happy Indigenous Peoples Day, and happy terrible victory, or not victory.
Yeah, it's not a victory.
Loss Monday.
It's okay.
The Dallas Cowboys.
You won if your goal was to get your ass kicked.
Oh,
In that case,
That's off the top
we did
rope.
really well yesterday.
off the top rope.
I'm sorry, are we
Say with your chest Monday.
Yeah, okay, so let me do this. Reactions to another hometown beatdown, number 3 for this year. 0-3 at home, guys. How are we feeling? First,
jump off
gut
IRS?
reactions. Let's go.
Gut reactions
Yes.
is that this game was personal.
Yeah.
And I think we had that feeling coming into it. None of us at this table, regardless of what we felt like the outcome was going to be, none of us, for those that chose Detroit Lions as the victors prior to the game, I didn't foresee it going down like that.
Oh, no.
I didn't foresee it going down like that. Did I foresee the Detroit Lions offense being dominant? Yes, because they showed it on film, and what we've put on film gave me no vote of confidence that we were going to be able to slow down their onslaught. When you talk about our offense versus their defense, didn't see that coming because what they had put on film leading up to this game is their defense was suspect. They're talking about the 27th ranked pass defense in the league. They've given up a good amount of touchdowns. These guys give up yards on the ground. This defense was not good statistically, and personnel-wise, we knew that they were undisciplined. We knew that they are well coached, but they just have these personal. I don't even know.
Vendettas?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a personal vendetta. They play selfishly defensively in terms of the back half, not necessarily front seven. We know the front seven was somewhat respectable. Aiden Hutchinson was going to be a problem because he, I mentioned in the pregame show, I didn't fear him, but have a high regard and respect him because of his ridiculous, relentless effort. Yeah. Right? He's just a relentless guy. If you let up on him, he's going to get a sack. I think the first sack he had against Terrence Steele, kind of got put on a sled a little bit, but then he let up. He literally just let him go. And that's how he got a sack. So he's a guy that you can't let up on. Obviously, prayers up to him as they show a replay on the screen as we watch. So prayers up to him in his recovery. That's going to be a long one. I hate to see that from anybody.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But, yeah, they just dominated. It was domination. There's nothing that could be said outside of the fact that they dominated on offense. They dominated on defense. Their game plan was substantially better on both sides, and they tried to embarrass you. Mm-hmm. And they were effective in doing that.
Successful.
Just very successful in doing that by running 4 plays, I think it was. 4, maybe 5 plays that were specifically designed to go to linemen.
Eligible. Yeah.
That's disrespect. It's pure and blatant disrespect.
Yeah.
It's a forehand. It's a forehand.
Backhand.
Plant the foot. Backhand.
Where's my powder? Where's my powder?
It was definitely that.
They started the game with that.
Yeah.
First play from scrimmage. Declared who? Dan Skipper, eligible. The troll job was on from that moment forward. Yeah. Cowboys, like I said, they got their asses kicked. They got outplayed. They got out schemed, out coached. They got out everything. They got out physical. They got out executed. All of the things that you could get outperformed in, the Detroit Lions did that against the Dallas Cowboys on yesterday. And I mean, you could go down the line. And I wrote this in one of the post-game articles. I said you could throw a penny in the huddle, and whoever that penny hits is probably to blame for yesterday's humiliation. Right. On both sides of the ball. It's very, very small amount of people that I can pull out of that group and say, you know what, you're safe. Brandon Aubrey, you're safe. Kevontae Turpin, you're safe.
Yep.
I even say Damone Clark, you're safe. Stepped up and he played and impacted the game in three different facets.
Very
Absolutely.
proud of him.
But outside of those three, and maybe one that I'm forgetting, I mean, that's 44 players that are accountable. The coaching staff is accountable for what happened on yesterday. And it's mind-blowing. I said this to you guys going into the game. I said one of the only reasons I was picking the Cowboys was because I could not fathom them dropping a fourth consecutive game at home based on prior to the January loss to the Green Bay Packers. This was the best home team in the entire NFL for not one season, but 2 seasons.
Yep. It was a 13-game homestand,
And not only do you lose a fourth straight home game,
yeah,
that you yourself said before this game started, Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, CeeDee Lamb, all these guys said, well, we whatever we do, we can't lose this game. It wasn't even close. You got outclassed. You absolutely, they took the Cowboys out back and beat them to within an inch of their life, went back inside, got a refreshment, came back outside and finished beating them until there was no more life. The grit, the fight, the determination that we saw in Pittsburgh, none of that made the flight home to Arlington. None of that. Who the hell is this team? Is this the team that goes on the road and shows the grit and the determination, and they're 3-0 now, and you see what you have there, but then they come home and they let somebody just walk into their living room and put their feet up on, put the muddy shoes up on the couch.
yeah. Disrespect your couch.
Right, just all out disrespect. And this bye week is going to be telling for them as far as coming out, because IRS, you talked about it and we talked about it. This schedule doesn't turn down.
No.
This schedule turns up even more after the Detroit Lions. So you either, I almost said a bad word. Sorry, Derek, you're listening. You either get your stuff together right now, coming out of this bye at 3-3, or you're going into Thanksgiving and your season is pretty much going to be over.
I think, at least with my gut reaction after this game, and I said this before, the panic button is smashed for me now. After, let's just do blast beats on it. It is just
Beat Saber.
It is smashed, because that loss was not necessarily what I predicted. I never predicted it was going to be
like
that
no
terrible.
way,
I thought your
no
offense was
way,
going to claw
no
at a certain point. But in terms of like the biggest letdowns for me of all of yesterday, your defense is up against the wall. Your defense is just shattered. I mean, there's no help really there. You're at your wit's end with the depth on defense. But for your offense to come out and look the way it was, you see the play calls and not getting your receivers open, just not scheming correctly to get those receivers open. It's not for lack of talent. You have Jake Ferguson. You have CeeDee Lamb, who, for all intents and purposes, played decently, but was also not on the same page with Dak. And you see an offense just sort of sputtering down the field and hoping for, like, oh, well, at least we're in field goal range and we got best kicker in the league. Let's go for it. To me, that was the biggest letdown of last night. But for you guys, what would you say is your biggest letdown from last night? Would it be the offense or the defense?
It's both. It's both. And I think last night on the post game show, on OT and on game night, I highlighted the defense, and absolutely, just because of the fact that we haven't seen any consistent body of work from this defense that is headed up by Mike Zimmer. We just haven't. We've seen one showing. That was week 1. Outside of that,
Against a pretty bad team.
Yeah, against a bad team. You beat the Giants. That's a bad team. You beat Pittsburgh. That's a team that you don't know if they're going to make the playoffs.
Middling team.
But every team that we know is going to make the playoffs, gave up 430 yards, 470 yards, 490 yards.
It just feels like all of last year's problems are now exacerbated.
They are
this year. It's not being able to beat good teams at home or away. You're getting by. You're not even blowing out bad teams anymore. And it feels like all of those problems have been compounded and are just on just have a microscope under them.
Well, it's a lot of things going wrong, and like you said, it's they are exacerbated, and it feels like you were looking for improvement in certain aspects like run defense this year and things like that, and you were looking for the offense to take another step forward. I mean, it's year 2 in this offense, and there should be some comfort here, but you're still seeing disconnects between Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Even before Brandon Cooks went down with the injury, you're seeing issues with separation, not just with Brandon Cooks, but with the wide receiver core as a whole. The running game, it took 4 games to finally get going, and then even before this game got well out of hand, the running game was nothing to speak of. I made a note to myself here. This was after the first quarter. End of the first quarter, here were the rushing stats for the Cowboys. Zeke had 4 carries for 6 yards. Rico had 1 carry for 1 yard.
After Rico's best game.
Correct.
5 rushing attempts.
CeeDee Lamb had 1 carry for 2 yards, and that was the totality of your first quarter rushing attempts. And as it goes, and some people will probably look at the fourth quarter and say, well, Rico, he got going. Okay, well, before he got going, so to speak, with the garbage time, Rico had 7 yards on 3 carries before his 12-yard run in the fourth, and then they kind of started feeding him heavily as the game started to wear down and Cooper Rush was in. And then Cooper Rush came in, and he wanted to join the interception party, and so he did join the interception party as well. This goes, again, if you want to go line items, first of all, the answer to your question, who was most disappointing, defense or offense, the option is C, all of the above. The secondary, no, just no, you failed. And for a guy like AO, who had come in having put solid stuff on tape, that deep ball early in the game, right side, don't know what your goal was there, but it clearly was not defense, okay? Secondary, no. Linebackers outside of Damone Clark, no. Your defensive line, absolutely not. Flip it over to the offensive side of the ball. Your offensive line got taken to school from one player to another. And you can't, Cowboys fans, you can't put this one on Tyler Guyton.
You cannot.
You cannot. You wanted to see Tyler Smith pop out to left tackle and TJ Bass in at left guard. You got what you wanted. Now, that being said, Tyler Smith, we've seen him play much better than he played yesterday. We've seen TJ Bass play much better than he played yesterday. We've seen Zach Martin be Zach Martin. Zach Martin led the team in pressures allowed with 6 yesterday. That looked like a shell of Zach Martin yesterday. So that's a conversation. So your offensive line, F. Your quarterback was under duress. You didn't do him any favors. But you know what? In the moments when he was not under duress, F. Okay? And that goes to, the miscommunications with CD. That also goes to just throws that weren't there. Receiving core. CD had a mostly solid day outside of the disconnects, but you need more. Jalen Tolbert did his best. Poor guy, the son hit him with a pass breakup, right? Jalen, sorry, bro. He did what he could. Jake, you need to see more from Jake. Jake was unable to get his yak yards that you see. He couldn't, hit his shimmy and shake.
Yeah, 3 attempts, I think.
Yeah, and also difficult ball, but that jump ball, middle left, you got to come down with that. That's a critical play that was missed. Jake wants that ball back. That was one of the – on a day where Dak Prescott played poorly for basically 60 minutes of football, help him out when you do get a throw like that where it's catchable and it's a critical play and the game is not out of reach yet, you got to come down with that ball. And then you saw what happened after that, the slant to Turpin. You could argue it was DPI, whatever. It didn't work, okay?
Well, that was a whip route.
Yeah.
We broke it down on game night.
So when you – in the running backs room, I just talked about that. So that's a fail as well. If you're not on special teams, you failed the Cowboys yesterday.
100%.
Period.
Isaiah?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to be said. I mean, it was bad all the way around.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat them into the ground. They know it's terrible. It was just bad. There's one aspect of this team that you're confident in, and that's special teams.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
That is literally it. You don't have a defensive identity.
That's it.
You legit don't have a defensive identity at all.
Do you have an offensive identity?
No.
You know who you are. They're just not there. They're not showing up. You know what I mean? Like, because the only reason.
Explain that to me. Yeah.
Who are they?
We have the body of work from last year.
Yeah.
Same system, same players, right?
play
So
caller.
same play caller. So we know what they're capable of. What you're not seeing is the creativity. You're not seeing the creativity from Coach McCarthy in that regard. You're just not. From him and Shotty, they early in the game they started moving CD around and they got him the ball. After that, it was slim pickings, right? So the concepts, these are very simplistic concepts, and they can work against certain defenses, right? But if you realize that these simplistic concepts aren't working from these alignments and from these motions, then you got to get in your bag early. I've said this a couple weeks ago. You got to get in your bag earlier, right? Now, Kellen Moore used to empty the bag too early, right? Now I feel like Coach McCarthy's taking it a little bit too slow. So I know that he's capable, right? Because we've seen it. Yeah. We've seen him get creative. We've seen him mess with personnel. We've seen him, highlight guys. But I don't know if it's because of who he has at his disposal right now, or if he's just kind of being safe, or he's trying to build some confidence by these guys by giving them very simplistic type of offense to run. But he's capable of more. I'll say that. Coach McCarthy and Schottenheimer, they are capable of more than what they are putting on film right now in terms of strategy. Defensively, I just don't know. I really don't know. And I stand on the same statements, the same sentiments that I had leading up when we were looking for a defensive coordinator. I didn't necessarily have a ton of faith in that particular hire, right? I just respect it. I respect him as an individual, respect his body of work. But this game has evolved. This game has evolved, and offenses are a lot more complex than they ever have been. They're a lot more creative than they ever have been.
Like the triple flip.
Yeah. And if you guys remember, one of my biggest concerns about this particular hire coming into this building, not to say that he can't be effective, but that I was concerned about the effectiveness with the personnel that he has at hand. Do you have the personnel that you need to run your type of scheme? And my answer was no. You didn't have the money to go acquire it, and you didn't have the time to draft the guys to get all the guys you need underneath your belt. And I think we're seeing that show up. I really think we're seeing that show up. And you're trying to fit what's the analogy? A square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And outside of that, once you realize that that's not working, now you got to be creative. Now you have to change what your initial game plan was. Okay, this isn't working for a number of reasons, right? We got a ton of injuries. Guys aren't being disciplined. Communication's not going well. The guys just aren't doing their job. Whatever it is, it's not going well. Right. So now what? Now what? You're 6 games into it. Now what? You're a third of the way through the season. Something has to change.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that absolutely has to change, and you make great points, IRS. So I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm going to put it on the players, okay? And this is not me taking it off of Zimmer, but I'm also putting it on the players because this mustard spreads all over the bread today, okay? David Montgomery recorded 10 missed tackles yesterday. 10 on 12 carries. Are you kidding me?
He does, man.
That is the highest missed tackle per next gen. That's the highest missed tackle rate, 83%, of any rusher this season in the entire NFL who has started each game.
And I think that goes into Isaiah's point about just this team not being very physical.
12, let that sink in for a second.
That's crazy.
12 handoffs, 10 missed tackles. Do the math there. That is abysmal execution. So while we are rightfully wondering what's going on with the adaptation of Zimmer's scheme in 2024's version of the NFL, let's also talk about the continued lack of execution on this defense. Missed tackles. Anybody who's followed this team knows that as much as penalties have been kind of the crux of the issue on offense, missed tackles have been a problem for this Cowboys defense. And not just under Zimmer, but in the DQ era as well. At a certain point, we're also going to point the finger at personnel on the roster and say, hey, eye discipline and gap integrity and assignment and keys and just play your ball. And what I'm seeing yesterday, most certainly as the game started to kind of snowball, is it felt like guys started to trust the guy next to them a little bit less. and a little bit less with every chunk play that was made. And when I say chunk plays, there were plenty of those, because I made a note here as well. And it's funny because I literally wrote this: chunkier than homemade peanut butter. Chunk plays: 7 rushes of at least 10 yards and 6 receptions of at least 20 yards before the fourth quarter started.
Yeah, the fourth quarter, they pulled off.
Oh, they
could have hung 60
easily
on this team. So defensively speaking, execution still a problem. Missed tackles still a problem.
But you expected that in a way. You expected to see that with as many holes as you had on defense. The offense didn't help you out at all. One iota. They did not help you.
We're not done. We're not done with the offense.
I wholeheartedly expected the offense to just run the table.
I agree.
And they could have.
I agree. I said it in the prediction. I said I feel like this offense is on its precipice, right? And then they completely fall off the cliff in the wrong direction. Completely. Dak Prescott versus man coverage yesterday. He completed his first 3 against man coverage for 35 yards, and then he completed only 2 of the next 14. And that included both of his interceptions against man coverage. He just wasn't seeing it. Now, pressure didn't help. Everything fed into the next thing that fed into the next thing. Yeah. Right? You needed
it was compounding
problems.
Just wrong.
The defense was wrecked injury-wise. Okay. No excuses, because you went in Pittsburgh and you won like that. Chauncey and Tyrus and Carl Lawson was brought to this team to be that veteran presence in the event you have an injury. Didn't provide it, right? These guys are getting paid too, so you need to step up and you need to play those roles. So I understand injuries happen, and it's true, and it does downgrade the talent. However, you still have a task, and the task for everybody on this roster is to step up when the person in front of you goes down due to injury. That did not happen yesterday. But it wasn't just on the backups who were asked to step up in the absence of Nealon and Tank and Micah and Duran. It was also some of the veterans, the veteran mainstays that you needed to just play high-level football, and they did not play high-level football. So now you come to the offense and you say, well, defense is having a crap of a day. All right, offense, get it going. We talked about it. Lions secondary, they can be had. Oh, why aren't we having them? Oh, they're having you instead. Okay, pressure. Pressure is making it harder on Dak Prescott. Oh, okay, Dak, need you to be Superman in this one, because your offensive line is not going to save you. Nope. You're not going to get any good throws from Dak when he has the time to make the throws, let alone when he's under pressure. Okay, well, maybe we can stabilize this with the running game before things get out of hand. Nope. No answers. And it's like the receivers. Okay, CeeDee Lamb, miscommunications. Jalen Tolbert, again, I draw a circle around Jalen Tolbert in a positive way, because he really did play some ball yesterday. But, Jake drops you can go down the line.
And you can't even before we go to break, you can't even blame the training camp.
It's over, because training camp doesn't last 6 weeks.
It's not 6 weeks.
So if you were saying
over.
If you were saying in August, September, that was CeeDee Lamb's training camp.
They've had plenty.
It's October 14th.
Yeah, they've had a quarter of the season to figure that out. Yeah, So, all right, boys, we need to take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk about Jerry's comments. I also want to talk about Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Strikingly similar press conferences in what they were saying. We need to look in the mirror right after this break.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Welcome back to Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee. This segment is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats, trusted since 1877.
Got mine in, boys.
You got yours in. I saw them.
I needed them this morning.
I don't think the Cowboys ate their oats yesterday.
I needed a hearty meal today.
Clearly not.
They did not eat their oats yesterday.
It's okay. It's all right. Sometimes you got to get smacked in the face.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get smacked in the face. But the back slap is what did it. Sometimes getting smacked in the face is necessary to wake up. You know what I'm saying? Beamer comes in on a late flight sometimes. You come in on a late flight. Sometimes you need somebody just say, hey,
I'm good.
Wake up. You know what I'm saying?
I'm good.
But the back slap, you're okay with the run slap. But if somebody comes backhand, that's where the blatant disrespect comes.
Here's the problem.
What's up?
That's throwing to your offensive lineman in the end.
The problem is if we were talking about
Multiple
you just need to wake up slap, okay, maybe so. But if you're talking about home games, you've been slapped 3 times now. How many?
4?
4 in a row. How many slaps you need?
Yeah. Home is home. You would love to be able to say that you still have a great advantage at home. You don't, right? And
right now they don't have
any. They don't have
Zero.
any.
None.
The problem, my biggest problem.
They were booing Dak Prescott yesterday.
Yeah, that sucks, man. My biggest problem, and a lot of Dak's obviously going to continue to be a stand-up guy and take blame for this entire team. This is not all on him. This was just a terrible loss in general by everybody.
Like I said, throw a penny into the huddle.
This was a Green Bay loss. This is what that was, right? Yeah. This was a Green Bay loss. That's exactly what it was.
On all fronts.
Worse, because the offense kind of showed up and came alive against Green Bay.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, and they were just
this
pulse.
was an obliteration.
No pulse.
My biggest issue, right? We can talk all day long about all the things that were wrong about this game.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is that you don't have an identity. And that, to me, is worrisome. That's worrisome to me because when everything else is going to crap, because there's going to be those days.
Yeah.
You're going to have those days where you get blown out like this. And you're not going to like it. And you're going to try to put your finger on it. And it's just too many holes to plug all at one time, right? So you go, you watch it, you address it, and then you say, all right, let's go have a better game plan for the next one, right? Because we can't fix everything that we see, right? You just can't. You can't address it all. But we're gonna highlight the major areas, and we're gonna hit those head on and deal with it, look ourselves in the mirror, and push forward. But when all else fails, what do you lean back on? Like, what's your ethos?
Right. What makes you...
Yeah, what's your ethos? So for instance, talk about the Detroit Lions. If the Detroit Lions defense was trash and their offense was trash and the special teams couldn't kick it through the doggone goalpost, what do you know that you're still going to get out of them?
They're going to run the ball.
Okay? They're going to be physical.
And they're
going to be relentless.
Yeah.
That's a culture.
No matter what.
That's a culture, right? That is the ethos of that team, right? And that stems from, you can say it stems from Dan Campbell, whoever you want to say. But that's what you know you're going to get no matter what the result of the field is, right?
Right.
I don't know what that is for this team right now. And that to me is worrisome because that's something that you can always lean on and that may get you through in certain games when you perform like this. That may, right? But at least you know that I'm leaning on that.
And that's what's most terrifying about the outlook after a game like yesterday and after, looking at the totality of the first 6 games is there is no ethos, right? And you have no identity. And yesterday, when you talk about having no pulse, they were cadavers yesterday. They were just a cadaver.
Empty bodies.
Yeah, just empty shells of a body that were just getting beat up on, kicked on, spit on, et cetera, et cetera. And so to me, what's your identity? John Doe. Going into the bye week, you're John Doe. You're John Doe. You were just a cadaver with a tag on your toe, and nobody can identify who this body is because they're waiting for dental records to come back, I guess. Right? So until you identify, are you going to start out physicaling people? We're not seeing enough of that to be like, okay, that's your ethos. Are you going to finesse people to death and light up the scoreboard for 40 points like you did last year and the year prior and in years prior? We're not seeing that either. Are you going to line up and punch them in the mouth? We're not seeing that either. We're seeing you getting punched in the mouth, rep after rep. And again, you look at like the offensive line and just Terrence Steele had a bad game, and Tyler Smith had a bad game, and Zach Martin had a bad game, and T.J. Bass had a bad game, and Cooper Beebe had a bad game, and then it just kind of goes from there.
Tyler Guyton did okay.
I love the word ethos. What's your ethos? What is your identity? Right now, it is John Doe.
In my opinion, when you look at this game, when you even look at the wins, where's the identity there? When you beat the Steelers, what would you say is the identity of that team?
That was a grit.
That was grit. Yep. And that's what's most.
You saw a flash
with injuries,
I'm going to speak.
right?
I'm going to speak as
that
a
was
parent.
a flash.
Yeah,
that was a flash.
I'm going to speak as a parent, and you can relate to this, and all parents can relate to this. And even if you're obviously we're all children of someone, so you could probably relate to this just as being a child of someone. Is it more frustrating for your child to fail, or is it more frustrating for your child to fail after they've shown you how successful they can be? It's the latter for me. The reason it's the latter is because now that you've shown me, the expectation is here. Yep. So that means the effort in the execution or the care,
the details
are lacking, and that is infinitely more infuriating from a parental standpoint, because it's just like, okay, it's one thing when you haven't shown me yet that you can do this. So it's like, okay, we're working our way up to this. Let's progress. Let's work our way up.
But you've seen
and your grace becomes longer and your patience becomes wider. But when you've seen that you can operate at this, that they can operate at this level, and then they come down and start operating here, no sir. Like, what is this? This is not going to fly. So now, no grace, no patience. Not for a loss like that. If they had at least put up a fight, you lose by 3, you lose by 6, you lose by 7. God, that sucks. But this is a different conversation after that. You walk in and you John Doe yourself through, 60 minutes of football.
At home.
Are you disappointed? Are you disappointed or frustrated?
Yes.
I'm disappointed.
Disappointed because the expectations, like I just said, are not being met. Frustrated because they can be met, but the things that need to be fixed are simply not being fixed. That's why we're sitting here slapping the panic button.
Can the coaches fix this?
I think it has to start with players fixing it.
Okay.
I think it has to start with players fixing it. That's why
What part are you referring to exactly? Because both obviously everybody has to take responsibility,
works,
right?
Everything. It's a machine. Everything works in conjunction with the next thing that works with the next thing. But when I say it has to start with players, it has to start with, number one, in the look in the mirror thing. I'm right there with that. I think all 53 needed to go home last night, first and foremost, and just sit with this. Sit with it. Just sit with it. And don't run, and I'm not saying they are, but this is just me saying what I would. Don't run from the film. Because when you watch that film, your jersey number is probably going to look real bad on that film. Don't run from it. Eat that. Feel that. And then take accountability for it. Now, once you take your individual accountability, look to the left and to the right and make sure that those two individuals are taking that equal amount of accountability.
Right.
And then from there, you get out on that practice field and you play like it's your last rep that you'll ever play. Okay.
100%.
And then from there, now you put the coaches into it and say, okay, what adaptations can we make schematically, offensively, defensively, things like that. But it doesn't matter what adaptations come offensively from Mike McCarthy, defensively from Mike Zimmer, if each individual player doesn't get their act together. And that's what I mean. And this is something Micah talked about when he said guys trying to be Superman. It's the same premise, right? Do your job, I'll do my job, do your job, each at the highest level, and then the rest will start to fix itself. And even if the adaptations don't come offensively, defensively, Now we're playing good ball. That keeps us in football games. And then the thing that needs to be fixed is more easily fixed as far as scheming, right? Not to say that it's easy, but it's easier to fix scheming than it is to make a player play up to his potential when he is down on himself or he doesn't feel that he can. It starts internally, right? So you fix the small to solve the big.
So you already answered my question for the most part. Isaiah, when they're talking about looking in the mirror, and everyone sort of had the same sentiment, they said they said the same thing basically in their press conferences after the game or their interviews after the game. It's like you have to look at the man in the mirror. What is the man in the mirror telling you after a game like this?
That you got punched in the mouth. And I mean,
and to answer your own question, is it players or is it coaches? And what needs to come first?
It's both. It's both. I think it starts with the coaches, personally. I think it starts with the coaches because the coaches pull the strings. The players execute. The coaches put you in position to be successful. The players use that positioning to go out there and highlight their abilities and make plays. That's the reality. You have to be put in position. It's the reason why some players flourish in some systems and they don't flourish in other systems. It's all about how you're being utilized. So I think it starts with the coaches because Coach McCarthy has to reel this thing in and help these guys see the big picture and say, hey, we're 3-3. And yeah, the losses we've had have been trash, right? But we're 3-3.
One game out.
Right? Yeah. So like, as bad as it feels right now, like
one game out.
Let's etch and sketch this thing.
Yeah.
Like let's watch this film. We're gonna come in. We're gonna watch the crap out of this film, and it's gonna suck. And everybody's gonna get graded. Yep. I don't know if you know this, but you sit down in your meeting rooms, and the coach hands you a whole little stack of papers, and in that stack of papers, it has every single play call, and at the top of the play, at the top of that sheet, it has a grade, and it's circled. And in every play is a plus or a minus. And your coach, your position coach, grades every single person that touches that field. And you look at that, and you guys talk through every single play. And you watch every play intently. Like, what did we do? What were we supposed to do? Did I execute? What could I have done better? Okay, next play. And you go through every single play. You do that as a unit. And then I don't even know individually how many times you do that. It depends on your work ethic and how much you value the film. But that's looking in the mirror. I have to see it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to see it. I have to acknowledge what the heck I did. Now,
acknowledge your reflection.
Acknowledge it. I don't want to see it. It's like, I don't know if everybody's ever done a body scan. Okay, at my facility, we have a 3D body scan, and most people, it's a great tool if you utilize it, right? Because you can see exactly where you're gaining, where you're losing, muscle, fat, or whatever it may be. But most people don't want to see it. People are what they are physically at that point in time, but something about facing the music, I don't want to look at it. Right? I know I need to lose something here, but I just don't want to look at it.
That was me yesterday after Whataburger. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to face that.
That's what this is, right? You have to see it because if I don't see it, how can I address it?
Yeah.
Right? So take the. All right, it's nasty. It tastes bad. It's gonna stay on your tongue for a little bit. It is. It's awful, right? But you need it. It's that tussle.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
It is that tussle. You got to take it, and then it's up to the coach to say, okay, cool. Put this away. Put this game away. We're not looking at this game no more, right? But what we are going to do is we're going to do everything that we can in our power as a coaching staff to put together the best strategic game plan ever for the San Francisco 49ers. That's what we're going to do. That's our promise to you. We're going to go back and we're going to dissect everything that they're doing. We're going to use all these days. The scouting department's already been looking. They've already been breaking down the analytics of what the San Francisco 49ers are doing. We're going to take that information. We're going to rewatch our first 6 games and say, what the heck are they seeing that they're jumping the gun on us that we need to change up? Because they're olaying us right now.
Yeah.
Right? Offensively, our concepts are being picked out. They see exactly what we're doing. You have to look at it and say, from this formation, we run this same concept. Even though we might be running it a different way, they're still picking it up. Right? So what do I need to change? Right? What do I need to change about that? It's self-scouting. Yeah. Right? That's why there's a whole scouting department that helps with that. You look at those things and you make the change. Boom. All right, now we're changing things up. We're going to do more 12 personnel. We're going to do more of this. We're going to run the same concepts, but I'm going to run it out of shift, and then we're going to motion. And then defensively, guess what? Screw it. I know I typically run this, but now we're changing it up. We're going to let me go back to last year. What did DQ do? All right. That's not necessarily what I believe in, but maybe let's incorporate some of those things because that's how you guys play. Y'all like to play fast and physical. Cool. I'm going to put you in position to play more man-to-man. But if I put you in position to play man-to-man, you better not get beat. Because if you get beat, I'm taking you out. So that accountability, those type of conversations that have to be had, those man-to-man conversations, because it's a room full of men.
Yeah.
It's a room full of men. Professionals,
highly
right?
paid professionals.
Absolutely. And just because you're a professional doesn't mean that you act as a professional. So you need the leadership, right? I.e. the wisdom, the coaching staff that they have put together that has a ton of wisdom over there. A ton.
To right the ship.
To right the ship, both from the player standpoint, former players that are now coaches, and successful coaches that have been all the way and won Super Bowls. You need that wisdom to show these guys the way. And once they get that, and everybody can come to the table and say, hey, I'm going to own my own mess. Let's go out there now and let's go attack the back half of this season.
One part about looking in the mirror is you got to first make sure the mirror is clean and not fractured, because it kind of goes to the psychology of what IRS is saying as far as the body scan is concerned, right? So if you stand in front of the mirror, but your view is skewed by what you don't want the mirror to tell you, then you're not really looking at the reflection the right way, okay? If the mirror has its cracks and it needs to be clean, you got to vinegar that thing down, then you can't really trust what you're looking back. You have to go in to that mirror, in front of that mirror, with complete openness and willingness to say, this is probably going to be the ugliest thing that looks back at me, but the only way I can fix it is to see it for exactly what it is.
You can't clean up the dirty
long
rag
story
either.
short, don't stand in front of the don't stand in front of the mirror and lie to yourself.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. All right, boys, we need to take our final break. When we come back, do we have enough time to get this thing, the ship righted? Do we have enough time here in the bye week to change what the Cowboys are doing at this point? Boys, we'll be right back after this break.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Welcome back to Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee. This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you, Isaiah, with the pearly whites.
Yeah, just trust I have teeth. I'm not smiling right now, but just trust I have teeth, and they're straight.
You can't even feign the smile today?
He forgot the glue today,
and
guys.
The teeth are straight, and it's partly thanks to Invisalign. So
this guy clearly has never worked customer service. You know what I'm saying?
I have, but, you know.
We all know a good fake smile.
I don't feel that thing. You hit him with the anime.
All right. Boys, we're going to wrap up.
It's not that kind of party today.
No, it's not that kind of party. Not in that kind of mood. We're not in an anime mood, guys.
We're not.
We're in a...
Well, it depends on what anime you're talking
about.
We're
Berserk. We're Guts
Berserk.
from...
There we go.
We're Guts from
I was
Berserk
gonna say,
right now.
there we go.
You know that reference, right? All right.
That's right.
Moving on.
I'm trying not to go full Griffith.
All right, guys, it's the bye week. Do we have time to get it right? And we need to be kind of quick on this one, but do we have enough time to right the ship?
Yes. You got 11 games. So just speaking on timeline wise, you got 11 games to write it. Will they? Don't know. Have no clue. If they continue to play like they did yesterday, this season is going to be over before the calendar flips to December 1st. But generally speaking, yeah, you got time. You're 6 games into a 17-game regular season.
If you drop one more L, if you drop this next game, is there enough time?
Well, we already hit the panic button.
Yeah.
So if you drop this next game, then you're going to start spiraling. And then, I mean, again, the time is the time, right? The time is not subjective. You either have the time or you don't have the time. They do have the time because it's 11 games, and then it's 10 games, and then it's 9 games. But you asked me this question again in, mid-November when you're literally halfway through the season, and if they have a losing record, I'll probably say no. You don't have enough time to get that back, especially depending on what happens with the Eagles and if the Commanders get back on their streak and, things like that. But as we talk right now, as much as this sucks, and it does suck, you still got 11 games to figure it out.
We're speaking in regards to this week, right?
Yeah. Is there enough turnaround right now for
is that
between
what
now?
you're asking?
I liked the bigger picture.
No, that's good.
I like the bigger picture.
I'll
but
dial
I'm
it into
curious.
this week.
What is your interpretation of
There's enough time this week to have some heart-to-heart conversations, and that's both from leadership, right, to the coaches. And that's from the coaches down to the players, and the players need to have meetings amongst themselves.
Yes.
Because as we sit here and talk about the whole identity thing, trust me, that conversation is being had. Right? It's not just people on the outside. It's not just the media. That conversation is happening in the locker room as well. I've been on those teams, right? I've been on those teams, and those conversations happen. It's like we're having to come to Jesus moment, right? Hey, coaches, can y'all go? Can y'all go out there for a minute?
Talk to my brothers.
We need to meet real quick.
I need to talk to my brothers.
Right. So I don't know who it is in that room that has it that sparks that, but somebody in that room needs to say, hey, whatever y'all had planned this week, in terms of for your bye week, tell your wives sorry.
Right.
Tell your girlfriend sorry. Tell you whoever sorry. We got work to do.
We got to look.
Right. We have work to do.
Love
right.
that.
I know we were supposed to be gone from Friday to Sunday. No. Like we're working all the way up.
Didn't earn that.
Hey, listen.
Amen.
Do you, but understand what we're going to be doing. The rest of us that are trying to make sure that we get this thing on track, we have to sit here and get this thing locked in. It sucks. I know. I wanted to go somewhere too. This is more important.
Should have earned it.
This is more important. So that conversation has to be had amongst the players. The coaches are going to have those conversations amongst each other because everybody has to look at each other. Everybody's going to say, I'm not doing good enough, right? Like, be real with me. Tell me if I sit up here and I suck, I would hope that in the break y'all would tell me, Isaiah, that was trash. You know what I mean? Like you have to have that accountability. You have to have that type of relationship where you can have those real conversations. And when you can have those real conversations, now we can have growth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we can have growth.
Yep. You taking the criticism, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
You got to earn time off. Just like you want that slice of cake, get in the gym.
Yeah, in a minute.
You got to earn it. You got to
Pump some iron. All right, boys. That'll be it for Talkin Cowboys. To preview the rest of the week, we're having fun here, all right? We didn't have fun on the field, so we're having fun here in the podcast booth. This week, we're going to change it up. Tuesday, Wednesday, brand new, cruise for the rest of the shows. 9 a.m. Talkin Cowboys. Kyle will be with Brian Broaddus and Barry Church. 9 a.m. Talkin Cowboys. Storyline will be Nick Eatman. I mean, that's not changing at all. I mean, I kind of pitched Patrick should do
the mix-up.
Storyline. Storyline would be Chris Beamer.
Storyline with Patrik Walker, where he doesn't take any calls. He just waxes poetic for an hour.
Stephen A. Smith's it.
He just talks to himself for an hour, actually. All right, 11 a.m. with a break. Of course, it's Derek hosting with Nick Eatman again, a double Nick shot with Bonnie Jill Laughlin and the podcasting debut of our boy Tommy Yarish.
Hey.
Shouts to Tommy, brand new Dallas Cowboys writer.
Killing it already.
12 p.m. You got mixed shots with Bill Jones, Mickey Spagnola, and Kurt Daniels on Mix Shots. Followed by 1 p.m. Hanging with the Boys with Shannon, Jazz Monet, Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and your boy Josh Rodriguez of Film School University. And at 2 p.m. Players Lounge with Newey, Jesse, Everson, and Nate Newton.
Ooh, that is a crew
and
right
then
there.
closing it out with a bang.
They're closing it out with a bang. Girls Talk, Boys Talk. Nicole Hutchison, Ambar Garcia, Heckma Harrison, and that's all.
Oh, see
all
how
right.
you do?
Oh, yeah. I guess Patrick's on there, too.
And you do this on Indigenous Peoples Day of all days?
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Of all days, to disrespect an Indigenous person. You're
I'm joking. We have fun here.
I mean, joking.
Racist.
All right, fam. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. But Talkin Cowboys will be back tomorrow with Kyle. All right, boys. We'll see you later. Thank you so much for tuning in. Chris Beam, take us out.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?